We are back and it is Friday, and I want to recap what we've talked about so far this week. If you're new to listening or Friday's your first day to listen in, Monday and Wednesday this week, which you can always go back and view these on Facebook and YouTube, but we've been talking about the 7 A's of confession, and these are by a gentleman by the name of Ken Sandy with Peacemakers Ministry. He came up with these 7 A's, but each one of them is attached to a biblical principle. And the first week, or first day, Monday, was Matthew chapter 7, when Jesus said, if you're going to take the speck out of somebody else's eye, get the telephone pole out of your own eye. That's my translation of the speck and the pole. So the 2 A's that day were address everyone involved, and so if there's more than one person that needs to be confessed to, do that, and avoid ifs, buts, and maybes, and I think that's self-explanatory. Then on Wednesday, we looked at 1 John 1, verse 8 and 9, and we talked about admit specifically and acknowledge the hurt. 1 John 1, 9, if we confess our sin, he is faithful and just to forgive us and cleanse us from all unrighteousness. The phrase, if we confess our sin, in the original language means if you'll acknowledge the same thing. It's admitting to God what you did is what he calls it, sin. And then, of course, acknowledging the hurt is not downplaying the other person's feelings or reaction. You genuinely, truly, in confession, are acknowledging, look, I know that I angered you. I know that I hurt you. I know the feelings of revenge or remorse, whatever, you're acknowledging that. Well, that takes us to today, Friday, and we're going to be in Proverbs 28 and verse number 13. Here's what Proverbs says. Whoever conceals his transgressions will not prosper, but he who confesses and forsakes them will obtain mercy. So what he is saying here is there's 2 options. You hide them or you confess them. You acknowledge them or you bury them. And the one that acknowledges them and confesses them, he says, will find mercy. And of course, that's what the goal is in confessing our faults or sins to another person, is finding their mercy, forgiveness. And if you're the one that was hurt or offended, when that person comes genuinely to you, it's your obligation then to show mercy and forgiveness to their confession. And so let me round out this week by sharing the last 3 of the A's. The first one is accept the consequences. When I offend, when I hurt, when I do something that angers someone, there will be some form of consequence. And hopefully their response isn't sinful as well, but the consequence goes with my acknowledging I did something, therefore there's a reaction, a response, something with that. And so I need to accept the consequences for the time being, that whatever has been doled out to me is ultimately because of me. And again, they have duty, responsibility as well, but my job is to accept them. Then the number 6 one is alter your behavior. Hopefully we've learned that in the midst of doing wrong and forcing ourselves to humble ourselves in order to confess, that we've learned something. They said the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting different results. You and I, if we are in the process of doing the same thing over again and not altering our behavior, then we are going to find ourselves in the position of having to humble ourselves again, maybe eat some crow, and confess, I did it again. I'm sorry for that. And then number 7 is ultimately ask for forgiveness. This goes with acknowledging what you did, calling it the same thing, 1 John 1, 9. But then for this person, I did this, I angered you, I hurt your feelings, I betrayed your trust. Will you forgive me? And so you're asking for that person's forgiveness as the final step in the process of confessing wrong behavior to another person. And so I trust that maybe these were helpful to you and that you'll be able to use these very soon, probably will be the case, and that you will be able to pass them on to someone else, because communication is the key to good relationships. And so as followers of Jesus Christ, we should strive to do the absolute best we can in the area of communication and relationship for His glory and also for the sake of other people. And so have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you either live and in person or through the internet this coming Sunday.